Can't tell you how pissed off I am right now. I just took the Duster down to this alignment shop down in San Diego, and the car won't start. This is like about an hour and 15-minute drive to get to this alignment shop. And I'm going to this particular alignment shop because they have a reputation for being able to align old school cars. Now, I did my own rough alignment on the car so I could go up and down the road okay, but I wanted to get it dead nuts, and I also wanted to see, you know, how far off my alignment was. But I guarantee you, man, this is my luck. You watch. I'm gonna get home, I'm gonna put the battery charger on it, and I'm gonna throw the key in it, and just for shits and giggles, I'm gonna crank it over. What do you think's gonna happen? That effer is gonna start. I've had the car sitting on the trailer for over a week, right? And I've obviously fired it up to drive it up onto the trailer. Last night, I fired her up on the trailer and let her sit there and idle just to be sure nothing was gonna go wrong, like carburetor problems or anything like that. And of all the times that it's not going to start, it chose the day that I had to drive an hour to San Diego.
I can't tell you how many times I cranked this thing over. Wouldn't start. And then to just fire off like that. I don't know, maybe it was something temperature related. It was cold this morning. I think I'm gonna change that orange box anyway. Hope that fixes it.
I ran bolts through the firewall from the inside out, so it's easy to change. Hopefully it will ground better. I'm gonna set this up that. I've got lock washers on the other side. I'm gonna put lock washers on this side as well. Hoping to get a good ground. It's definitely gonna be a better ground. See if it starts. Switch, a test light, a multimeter, a spare harness, control box, voltage regulator, looks ratty but it works, cap, rotor. Actually, I'm going to leave these here. These are my good set for emergency kit. Extra wire, jumper wire with alligator clips, so I can hot wire it easy. Extra wire, electrical tape, coil, and a spare coil wire. Boom. Now, if it happens again, I think that should be good. I just got up from a long couple hour nap, freaking wiped out and exhausted from stress at work. Been working overtime and stuff, and it wasn't good that this thing was giving me a hassle this morning. Anyway, just gonna fire it up again just to make sure it's working. Alright, still working. I don't have any smoking gun for sure, you know, to know what happened. I think it's the ground. I'm hoping it's the ground to the orange box. So I did swap orange boxes, improved the ground there. All I could do is try again. I might try, probably piss off the neighbors, but tonight when it gets really cold, try it just to see if temperature's a player. I mean, that's the only thing that was kind of different about early this morning versus last night. I mean, it fired up fine just like this last night. It's either all that or this car just does not like San Diego. Again, fires right up. Hopefully it was the ground on the orange box and it's resolved. It's Thursday, going to get the car aligned for the second time. And part of the reason why I think it didn't start is because it was so freaking cold. And here we are. Freaking car is frozen over. Oh man, it's not a good sign. Okay, we're still on. Let's see if it'll start. Man, for a second, I thought it wasn't gonna start. It's gonna go. Here we go again. But, all right, cool. I'm thinking that ground was the issue. Not a good enough ground. So where my buddy works, they use this particular tire shop in Lake Elsinore to align cars. So I gave him a call, and first thing I asked is I said, hey, I got an old school car. You guys actually have an old school dude that knows his stuff for aligning old cars? And they said, yeah, we got a guy. And I said, all right, let me schedule an appointment. So Thursday morning, so last Saturday, you know, car wouldn't start down in San Diego at the alignment shop there. So Thursday I took a half day early in the morning, took the car over there, and cool. Definitely got an old school dude. He knew his shit. He'd been doing it for 30 something years. His parents actually owned that tire shop, and he's worked there practically, his whole life, although he's 50-ish, 50 something, I don't know. But anyway, I told him, I said, look, I don't want the factory specs. I want the tires to be, or the wheels to be, straight up and straightforward. And he goes, yeah, we could do that. And then he adjusted the caster. So basically where I had it, he was good with it. And he goes, that's actually where I set it all the time for old school cars, because it just makes it more stable and easy to steer and stuff. So, and he gave me the straight up and straightforward within a degree. Actually, I think it was within a 0.1 degree, if I remember right. So he said, yeah, he sets up all the old school cars that way, and he gave me what I wanted. I can't remember what the factory specs were, but he showed them to me. He goes, this is what the computer's calling up, and was saying that basically, they intentionally set up the suspension so that if you were to fall asleep behind the wheel, the car would veer off the road, off to the shoulder, rather than going the other way and, being in a head-on collision. But I'm not worried about this car. I'm not going to be driving this car daily. It burns a lot of gas, so I can't afford to drive it daily. But anyway, so I'm pretty happy with the results. Also, I got to look at what the alignment was before he aligned it. So when I did my driveway alignment, which I'll show you the specs here, it was pretty close. The driver's side was pretty good. The passenger side had some, I think it was negative camber, and the car was a little bit towed out, and he just brought it in just a little bit, so it wasn't too far off. Now, the whole reason I'm getting the car aligned was, it's one thing to align it, and I could go up and down the road, okay, but the car still feels a little squirrely, and it was a toss-up. Was it my alignment? Doing it in the driveway, you don't have like hard numbers to reference, so I wasn't sure if it was my alignment or if it's the tires, because this thing has like drag tires up front, so the tire is like very arched. It's got Mickey Thompson bi-ply tires, so because of the arch, the contact surface is really small, which is good for drag racing, but it's terrible for the streets. And then the other thing is the streets out here. Freaking California roads, at least in Wildemar, are the crappiest you've ever seen. So the roads are shit. So the car's kind of all over the place. After seeing where my specs were, I think I was close enough that it's probably not my alignment. I think it's the roads and the tires. So I've ordered another set of tires that are, they're also Mickey Thompson's, but they are radial tires. So I'm pretty excited to put that on the car. I think once I get those on there, the car's just gonna be really stable. These are probably better for drag racing, but they're really old, and I was willing to take a chance yesterday going to the drag strip, which was a bunk, as you probably saw. But it's all good. I'd rather have, I don't think the tires are gonna slow the car down very much, and I'd rather have the stability and be able to drive it around on the streets. So anyways, here's the results of the alignment after the fact, and you can see it's pretty much what I asked for. Pretty much straight up and straightforward. That way, it'll be good for drag racing. And honestly, these roads are so crappy that I don't think a factory alignment really plays much into how the car drives and handles. The car's all over the freaking road because the roads are so shitty anyways. So I'd much rather have the car go straight. Anyway, I think we're done with the whole alignment stuff, and hopefully we can get to the drag strip maybe in 2 more weeks. Yeah. All right, so the car's been starting ever since I improved the ground on the control box. So basically I had threaded the holes in the firewall. I had bolts going through this way. I've since reversed it, put lock washers on it, so the nuts are going through this way. I'm sorry, the bolts going through this way, and now the nuts on this side with its own lock washer. So far so good. JMR had mentioned to check the fusible link. He had a similar issue happen on his car. So just so you know, The electrical on this car is all brand new, so it should be good. But here's the fusible link. I mean, it looks okay. I don't see any issues with it. But if usually if these get hot, there's an issue with it. They'll melt the skin off of the fusible link. So it looks all right, but the problem happens again, then I'll definitely pull this apart here and then check to make sure I'm getting power there. Be a kind of an easy test. Should it occur again, I'm pretty sure this is the ground issue though, so we'll see. So far so good. So one more thing I wanted to mention was these SPC arms. The alignment guy actually said he liked these arms. They were very nice. So basically, by breaking these loose, and then you can make your adjustments here, he's able to make a very precise adjustment. And he said sometimes when you take apart or you loosen up the factory cam bolts, that the weight of the car being on it, it'll cause it to spin, and then you kind of lose place and you got to start all over again. And in that case, sometimes he puts jacks underneath the frame, which I wouldn't want. I want the full weight of the car and on the suspension while making adjustments, because that's how those guys screw them up, is when they pull the weight off of the car and then do an alignment, then you put the weight on the car and it moves everything, So anyway, these gave the alignment guy a very precision way to align the car. So I definitely recommend them if you can afford to buy them, because they are not cheap. They are kind of pricey, but I'm glad I have them on the car, and they were a necessity on this car, because as low as my car is, if I didn't have them, when I had just the factory arms on there, it had a lot of camber to it. So in order to straighten that out, I basically added these, which gave, I believe, 6 degrees, and then the factory adjustments are about 4 degrees, so it gave me a total of 10 degrees. Now when they sell these, they come with a straight bolt and a washer, so it's like you remove the factory adjustment, but I left the factory adjustment in there, so I not doubled it, but kept the 4 degrees here and then added the 6 here, so that I can get the top to push out far enough so I can have my wheel straight up and down. So anyway, I highly recommend them, but I believe, if I remember right, what did I pay? I want to say it was like 400 something bucks for them, 460, 470 bucks for them. I'd have to double check that, but they were expensive. So anyway, I'm gonna put a picture here of the sign that's on the shop. So if you're in the Lake Elsinore area, or you're close to that and you have an old school car, this guy really knows his stuff, and he will give you the alignment you need for your old school car.